Well, hey, friends, this is Bob Ferguson. And today I have the great privilege of having my dear friend and colleague,
Mhm.
Tera Johnson, with me. Now, Tera is a very important person. She created Tera's Whey. She created Food Finance Institute. She was funded by Wallace Center to do economic development work. And now
Mhm.
she heads up Stiel Ventures. Now, she told me what that means. Stiel is that little thing in the plant. And
Stem that holds a plant up.
Salmon
Yep.
holds the plant up. There you go. Stiel Ventures. How
Yep.
great is that? And we have engaged Tera to come to Fairfield on the 10th of May for a very special visioning day. And we have actually started with the idea of only working conceptually in a 9 county area in Southeast Iowa.
Mhm.
We just hatched the idea, well, why wait?
Mhm.
Why not bring people from all over the state, which I was doing anyway?
Mhm.
Trying to, well, if we're doing this and I got people from there, all of a sudden, well, why don't we do the whole state? So we're going to be deriving principles in projects for developing regional food webs, regional community food webs. And we're not going to just do it in the 9 counties in southeasternmost Iowa. We're going to invite anyone who wants to catalyze that in their area. So that's kind of my say. Tera, so delightful to have you here. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about what we're doing on May 10 and why people who get this video should want to come.
Great. Well, so Bob, you're the master networker is reaching out to people because we want to. Bob came to me because he was like a lot of us, concerned about the outcomes of what has happened to rural communities because of the changes that have happened in industrial agriculture. And there are lots of ways to look at that, but it kind of doesn't matter what lens you look at it from. This evolution to industrial agriculture has been devastating to rural communities. And it's often the case that people will say, well, that's just the price of progress and we got to live with it. And people like Bob exist in this world to say, nope, there's an alternative to that. And it's going to take some intentionality to create it, right? Because the inertia of the system is always going in this way. And if we're saying, wow, we need an alternative here, then it takes a push. So when Bob and I have known each other for a while, we've worked together on a couple of projects in the past in Fairfield, and it touched communities outside of Fairfield as well, right? We've seen the potential for food, a new way of thinking about food and agriculture, to become more of a driver of, instead of economic devolution, to become a driver for economic development in rural communities. And it can't just be one community, right? Like even Fairfield has what, 10,000 people, Bob, right?
All of 10,000 people, right?
Right, all of 10,000 people. And I come from a business world, right? Right. And I tell people you need people to make these businesses work, right? And a food system is made up of a bunch of businesses. So when you try to do these initiatives just at a local level, it can only go so far. I'm not saying it's not valuable, but it can only go so far. So the thought was, what if we started thinking about this as a web? And Ken Meter, who has been doing this work for a long time, kind of documenting how food systems are these webs, and they're webs of people, but they're also webs of businesses and value chains and things that take agricultural products and make them into something saleable and feed people and create jobs and all those things. So why don't we take that thinking, and how could we advance it in Fairfield? That's how it started, right? The germ of this. And then we realized the web is bigger than Fairfield, so we had to keep growing. So today, Bob said, I've been talking to people, and people really, we need people around the state. So we're now looking at Iowa statewide and thinking about what opportunities there are for advancing food webs, not just within Fairfield or in a couple of counties around Fairfield, but statewide, right? And
Well,
so
that's
yeah,
in a
that's,
nutshell, that's exactly what we're doing.
yeah,
We had defined a region we thought was pretty big, like, oh my gracious, that's really
yeah, yeah, yeah.
9 whole counties,
Mm-hmm.
100,000 people. Um, and but then I have friends everywhere. I have friends in Des
Mm-hmm.
Moines and up in Grinnell and in Decorah and out in Sioux City and everything. And I wanted my friends to all come. And it really didn't make all that much conceptual sense.
Mm-hmm.
All my friends sitting there twiddling their thumbs, talking about Southeast Iowa when they live
Right,
in Central Iowa or West Central Iowa or South Central Iowa. So I
right,
said, why not just solve that problem by making the problem bigger?
right.
Just expanding it to the state level. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to try to make the state one big web. Still
Mm-hmm.
feel, and of course, we'll find out on May 10th whether we're all wet or not, but I still feel like regionalizing it in clusters of natural clusters of counties.
Mm-hmm.
County
Yeah,
big enough. So there's 9 here because we wanted to take everything and
right.
from the Des Moines River to the Mississippi down to the Missouri border. But there's all kinds of potential corridors going up and down and obliques and
Mm-hmm.
everything all over Iowa. And so
Mm-hmm.
what we'll do is we'll invite people from all around Iowa. We'll involve the people who are already in the Iowa Local Foods Network
Mm-hmm.
and just see what kind of fun we can have, what kind of mischief we can get into in May 10th.
Right, right,
You're watching this video because you're getting an invitation to come
right.
to May 10th. So Tara, any other final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, no, I guess one more, and that is that in the world of economic development, there is an understanding about regionality and economic development and the power of that. In our state, in Wisconsin, Madison was kind of looking at its peers around the country who, like 40 years ago, Austin, Texas, and Denver were peers to Madison. Now, why is it that they've grown beyond exponentially and we haven't, right? And it turned out one of the things was this behaving in a more regional way. And in those cases, it was not as sector specific as what we're talking about, but there is a lot of power in looking at the development of a food web and the implications that could have for economic development if we look at it in this regional way that we're talking about.
That's great. Well, so folks, that is the story. So we're hoping that people who get this video will come to the Jefferson County Fairgrounds, the Cambridge building at 9 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
on May 10th. And we'll have some real fun. And I think something really, really significant is going to come from this. So Tara, thank you
Awesome.
very much for your
Of
expertise.
course.